Let's talk about relationships. I've been in a lot of different types of relationships. I've been in really committed relationships. I've been in very casual relationships. I've been in kind of obscure relationships. And so I've gotten a lot of perspective on them. And lately I've been very jaded to it. But I keep having these really frustrating dreams. So I'm gonna kind of just share my jaded, twisted, red flag perspective in hopes that it gives a little clarity into why dating is so hard these days, and at least just like the part that I've had to play in that. And I think there's a lot of advice on how to have healthy relationships out there, but I don't think that there's a lot of almost, I guess, like taking accountability for their shittiness. This is gonna be a really unattractive video, but I hope that it helps give insight. I'm gonna start at the beginning of relationships, and this is gonna be very generalized, so just take what sticks, sit and spin on it, forget the rest, all right? I think it's subconscious when you get into a relationship to get into it with your best foot forward. You are really creatively thinking about how you can kind of win this person over. And you're acting from a place of feeling like you have something to lose or something to prove, and potentially the latter. But eventually, I think we get into these relationships because we just want some sort of consistency and security in our lives. There's something so reassuring about having a consistent person that you can go home to at the end of each day, if you live together, or at least just have that connection to, is perceiving you to perceive you, not from a place of how are they going to respond, how are they going to benefit, but they just genuinely enjoy who you are, and your lifestyles and life goals and morals line up. And so you have this partner to just kind of share the experiences of life with. And I think that that's the end goal. That's the final destination, but you go through a lot of trials to get to that golden point and that golden partner. And you have to go through these different experiences to learn these lessons. I often feel played and betrayed by the honeymoon phase because I know it's unintentional and I know I'm just as guilty of doing it. But once you get to that golden point with that person where you're comfortable and secure, you stop caring almost. And that's at least how it looks to the person on the other side, because you stop coming from that place of having to prove something and having something to lose. You get really comfortable. And I think that's why you hear old couples say, never stop going on dates. They say it a little bit more cryptically, but I think what it really breaks down to is that you are faced with so many different challenges, and working with people is incredibly difficult, especially over long periods of time, because your ability to give wavers. And so you're constantly being tested on your ability to fill in those gaps for another person, and your ability to allow someone to fill those gaps for you. It's incredibly hard to ask for help. And so once you get past that honeymoon phase and you're no longer going on these dates or creatively trying to find ways to connect with this person, it can feel incredibly one-sided, and it can get very routinistic. And the exact things that attracted you to this relationship are the exact things that are causing it to feel mundane and boring. And so you almost start to self-sabotage. And the self-sabotage can come from a lot of places. It can come from a place of you not feeling worthy of having something healthy because maybe you grew up with very dysfunctional parents, and so you're used to the constant tug-of-war. And so when things are balanced and normal, you almost wonder what's wrong. It feels suspicious. It could even be an accumulation of very light-hearted behaviors that are a little obscure that look suspicious. And when I say that, I have a few different examples. I have one that I experienced viewing from my partner, and one that I had personally that my partner saw from me. So I'm gonna start with the one that I can personally speak on. I love to go to bed watching YouTube with my phone propped up, blankets over my head, It's just like my personal little movie theater, but it's called a For You page. It's for me, not you. So like, I'm gonna put my headphones in, I'm gonna get engulfed in the experience. And as somebody who loves to escape through like corny feel good type videos and ha-has, I just don't really like to like welcome other people into it, because if they see something cringy that I don't see, they're gonna ruin it for me. And I just wanna like be able to have my experience. But for my partner, when he would walk into our bedroom and see me in the dark with the the blankets over my head on my phone with my headphones in, and like, you know, like flopping it down and just like, you know, I looked like a gremlin. Like, how is that not suspicious as fuck? And so I could sit there and, you know, I'm defending it to you. It's just a comfort thing. I don't know. But once you have that little like suspicion seed planted in your head, it kind of just becomes like a tally mark of like, oh, okay, how is this person going to portray me like the last? How is this person going to fuel my survival instincts? Because, you know, your brain is wired to go through these experiences, analyze them, figure out why it was a negative experience, and then avoid it, so that way you survive. And so while it's unfair to project your past experiences onto your present or future partners, it's also somewhat survival. Like, you kind of can't blame yourself or your partner for doing it. I got a thing for like nerdy gamers, and so I would, you know, either like, for instance, I used to live in a studio with one of my partners where it was literally like the bed, his gaming setup, and then the TV. And so from his peripheral, it literally looked like I was just staring at him while he was gaming, because I was like having to kind of look through him to watch the TV. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just having fun, letting loose, unwinding. You know, I didn't have an issue with him gaming. Like, there was no problems. But just that like tension, that pressure, that feeling that someone's watching you, it's really hard for you to lock into your hobbies and like fully get engulfed in them when you feel that way. And so sometimes I would feel like, you know, I would walk past him or his gaming setup and he would have like his Discord chat up, and he would try to like kind of click away from it or like hide it with another tab or something, because he would play in big groups of people, and sometimes those groups of people would include women. And, you know, I think to kind of touch back on like, you know, the traumas of the past, I think a lot of men have been hurt in ways by anytime, like, it's a very common thing for like your girlfriend to go through your phone, see that you're talking to girls, and then it like turns into this big cheating scandal issue problem. And so I feel like for a lot of men who game and end up gaming with women, it turns into this like issue of like, are you flirting with girls on games online, and like yada yada yada. But like, I have no interest in that. You know, I have full trust that I can pick a partner that can be respectful to women and is not so out of control in his pants that he can't reel it in, and he can be like respectful, a girl's girl, you know, like, it's pretty important to me. And if you can't be that way and you prove that to me through your actions, then I'm just gonna like leave. But like, I'm not gonna automatically assume that the people I'm picking to surround myself with would do that to me. I think a lot of times we view our partners as the opposition, even if it's subconscious. You know, we've been so hurt and traumatized, and in the youngness of dating, like, so many people are so clueless. Like, they want the things of a relationship without having to do the work that comes with it, and everything is so flipped upside down on its head. It's overwhelming. When you act suspiciously out of these past behaviors, I think my boyfriend knew that he wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't doing anything nefarious, but he was just worried about, you know, me reading into him having a good time, and that it was gonna like ruin a good thing. And I think he almost started to like resent not having more privacy, not from a place of him even doing anything nefarious or wrong, but just for like the sake of his own peace and having his independence and individuality. And so instances like that, where it's like these are very normal comfort behaviors for people, they just look a little strange. It's like, since him and I didn't know each other well enough before getting into it, it was really suspicious for us, and it kind of caused us to work against each other. And you cannot do that when you're building a life with somebody. Like, the world is set up to work against you, so you can't go home and build a sanctuary with somebody who's marking, you know, subconscious tallies in their head about how you've psychologically fucked with them based on just how you function as a person. And so the only solution I can think of in my head for this is to be friends with people before you date them, and really have a chance to see them with the facade gone. I mean, the world has taught us to be able to mask up and chameleonize to whatever situation we need to win people over, right? Like, that easy work, unfortunately, as much as it's manipulative. And you can say, oh, I'm a people pleaser. It's like, no, you're not helping anything. give me a chance to form a genuine opinion about you, okay? We do it in all factions of our life, and so since it's subconscious and it's just a part of who we are in humanity, we almost need to like know these people for like a year and be able to see them when times are good, when shit hits the fan, when the mask comes off, and like really decide if we can live with those behaviors and love them unconditionally, because that's what unconditional love means, is seeing a person, like perceiving them, listening when they talk, not for how can I relate to this? How can I respond to this? What's my place in this? How am I being perceived? Can I make them like me more by my response to this? No. You are just watching them grow and be a person, and you're there to be, just another brain to bounce ideas off of and help them find their path in life. You are just perceiving them. That's the best way I can put it. And they are just doing the same for you and rooting you on the full way through. We've really lost sight on how to do that, especially in romantic relationships, and it gets toxic, where I kind of feel like I've fueled the dragon a little bit. We crave companionship. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my girls. But I also love male companionship so much. Even just like a few years ago, I feel like I would meet these guys who I just thoroughly really enjoyed their mind, and I enjoyed who they were. And like, there's a lot of attractive people out there. So like, sure, they were pretty beautiful. And in my mind, like, I didn't even know what boyfriend material meant. I just thought if you enjoyed a person and found them attractive and it was a mutual thing, like bada bing, bada boom, date them. But you end up soiling a relationship that probably was just meant to stay a friendship. I mean, to be honest, like, I know I wasn't in a place, but like, they definitely were not in a place either to like deal with the responsibility and emotional commitment that it takes to nurture a relationship. There's a saying of like, the grass is greener where you water it. And so in order to have successful relationships, you have to be in a place where you are able to give and receive. But like, really, you have to nurture those relationships, and you have to really encourage the depth, and you have to put this effort in. They don't just come to you and happen super organically. Part of, I guess, what makes it organic is you taking the initiative to take action in your relationships and make things happen. Collectively kind of lost sight of that because we're always like, nobody hits me up anymore, nobody invites me out anymore, and like, we all just kind of like shut down and stopped reaching out. And it's like, everyone has to give each other the chance to say no and just really be open to playing the long game and getting to know them. And that way you don't end up just being like a tourist in people's life. That's like the easy road. That's really, chill. You can just be there when times are good and run away when shit gets ugly and wait for enough time to pass for things to heal and rinse and repeat. But like, you're never gonna have genuine connections that way. And I kind of feel like that's what we do a little bit nowadays, just because we get a little impatient based on these like primal urges. I hate the idea of like letting caveman behavior get the best of me. That whole boys will be boys thing bothers me, because it's like, are we really gonna justify caveman behavior? Like, I think we're past that. And like, I don't want to underestimate men's intelligence to the point of just like letting them act like dogs. I'd like to think that they can handle themselves, but in a way it's like weaponized incompetence is a really big problem. It's like easier to just like use that as a justification so that you can like continue to make poor choices for the sake of having fun, than it is to like actually take ownership of like, yeah, actually, why would I want to be defined by being horrible and acting like a Neanderthal? I like the idea of being perceived as a little bit more emotionally intelligent than that, and when I've explained that to guys, you can see like this little spark go off in their head of like you can tell it makes them feel good when you say that, but it's like, if we start putting that prerogative out there, you really gotta like have the actions to back it up, and that's just not there. Like, it's really even hard for me to say that. I'm sitting here just like okay with the idea of being a crazy cat lady, because the dating world has made my head hurt so much that I've sat here for 18 minutes straight and like hardly taken a breath talking about it. I think I got my point across. I think the only thing left that I have to say that just to, I guess, be like a little self-deprecating is I fear through all of these like different experiences and whatnot that through my life I've been like a bit of a pick-me. And as like maybe a retiring pick-me, this shit's exhausting and it like hurts your feelings, you know? Like it sucks feeling excited to like make new girl friendships, but then like feeling the unspoken kind of like psychological warfare that comes with like building this beautiful friend circle, and then like watching everybody like fall in love with each other and knowing that beauty comes in all different like shapes and sizes and kinds and flavors, and it's like not fair for you to compare yourself to your friends, but like these weird love triangles develop and it's really hard for you to not take it personal, and it just mucks everything up. Gosh, I really wish that we didn't put so much pressure and power behind vanity and sexualization of one another, because it's really damaging our ability to connect with one another in positive ways, and it's fueling all of these horrible stereotypes that we almost try to be blind to, yet also we talk about and do nothing with. I can sit here and probably talk about this for an hour and a half in circles, but it's like, what are we gonna do to change it? I'm just choosing, like, okay, I sound like an absolute incel in this video, and this is not gonna help my case because I hate to sound like that. I've realized that it's unfair of me to want male companionship and have expectations for quality time with men, and, you know, if they have certain feelings about me, and I don't mirror those feelings, I don't want to taunt anybody, but I'm also not interested in like building a fake relationship with somebody for the sake of having needs met, knowing that I'm not in a place for it. So I've just honestly chosen to like get rid of the dating apps. I'm not I'm not going to bar. I'm not welcoming it really into my life right now. I'm trying to just let my connections with people stay organic, and I just don't think that it's fair for me to welcome that kind of depth into my life knowing that I am not interested in committing to anything, and I'm also not interested in sleeping with anyone. So it's like, if anyone's down to just be friends, then like cool, sick, let me know. But it like, I'm really not interested in all of the confusion that gets involved when it comes to connecting with people nowadays. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk and watching me kind of lose my mind while I sit in my house by myself for far too long. Things will get better and a little bit more normal. Have fun out there perusing the internet and stay safe. Goodbye.